Steve Poland here, and I try to do a full tour of all of my tanks every 3 months or so it's that time again. And one thing that I'm going to try and do a better job of this time is remembering that not all of you have seen every one of my videos. You don't all know the history of all these tanks, what's on them, what's in them. I usually go through the stock and all the fish, but I'm going to try to cover the fish room downstairs a little better, go over some of the systems that are down there. I do have build videos for most of the things that I have, so if you look back through my channel, you can find all that stuff. But we're starting up here. This is my den, and I've got 2 tanks in here. This is the 125 gallon display tank. It's all male peacock and hap. I run 3 big Eheim canister filters on this tank, and I also have a drip system going, and I have a drip system that flows to all of my tanks. So of course I'll show you that as well. And the reflection you see is the 90 gallon behind me, which I'll show you here in a minute. I run a current satellite freshwater plus, a 4-foot light on this tank that I really like. I've got it turned up a little bit more than I normally would for the video, because if I don't, it's a little tough to see. So, and as I get in there, you can see it gets a little grainy. But so these fish, I really do need to add some fish to this tank from the 90 behind me. It's getting a little bit thinned out. A couple fish I've sold. I had an OB peacock that was beautiful, but was just not getting along with everyone, just chasing everybody constantly, so I did sell him. And my red empress, unfortunately, I lost, who was one of my favorite fish. But everyone else in here is doing pretty well. New additions, there is a big, that electric blue right there that I got at ACA that you might remember is in there. Oh, the other fish that I lost out of here, huge bummer, and I haven't told you guys this yet. So if you remember from the ACA video, I had an iceberg that was just amazing from Butch at Southeast Cichlids, and unfortunately a few days after I got back, I had everybody in quarantine. I pulled them out. He was fine for a few days, and then just inexplicably he was breathing super heavy one day when I got home from work, and then he passed. So I was really sad about that. He was a beautiful fish. Really just a random occurrence. That's not on Butch. I don't really feel like it's on me, honestly. Everybody else was fine, so I'm not sure what happened with him. See, I've got a white lips in here. Big redfin borley eye. Yeah, that glare is pretty bad. Anyway, just a nice collection of male peacocks and haps in there. Always love watching that tank. And then behind me is the 90. Again, I got the glare from the other tank, but this has really always just been a grow out for me. I run 2 filters on this, an FX5 and a Sun, and I've done full equipment videos for both of these tanks, so I won't go into depth on them, but run an eBay LED light on this that I like a lot. And this is always just a grow out, so really when I started keeping peacocks and haps, I just started throwing all the young fish in here, and a lot of them, most of them turned out to be males. I've tried to buy males, but there are a few females in there, and so the guys just color up randomly. I'll just have fish color up at random times. I'm going to turn the light behind me off in the 125 so you can get a little better look at this. Hang on just one sec. Okay, that's better. So there's some really cool fish in here that I like a lot as they've colored up. I've got 2 new dragon bloods that I've been showing a ton on Instagram. Those were auction fish from ACA. There's a deep water hap that's finally started to really, he was really just gray for a long time, but he's coloring up. I think that's happened as I've gotten, there's a Giselle in here. And once the Giselle got in here, that was also from ACA, that deep water hap just took off. There's a flame tail right there that looks good lately. I have a bunch of catfish in here now, multipunctatus and petricola. They mostly hide. There's one going up the back wall there. Blue dolphin. So yeah, it's just really nice to watch this tank and see as fish go from looking like females to just popping out. It almost changes like on a daily basis. It's pretty cool. And just so you guys know, gonna have some changes coming to this room. I am upgrading the 125, so I'm not gonna give you any details just yet, but keep watching this channel. You'll see a lot about that here over the next couple months. For now, we're gonna head downstairs to the fish room. Okay, we are now down in the basement fish room. So this is a 10 by 10 or so room down here, kind of a walled off part of my basement. Can't use all of the space, unfortunately, because there's a lot of other stuff down in here, like workout equipment and a furnace and a huge, like insanely huge water heater. But I've filled it pretty much as I can with tanks. I'm breeding peacocks and one group of haps, 5 groups total that I'm breeding now. So down here, sunshine group. All the females are hiding right now, but you can see the male there. I do have one that's holding in that net right there. This is a blue neon group, and they're all hiding. See if I can't. I hate doing that, but the male is hiding in there. He's pretty cool. We'll see if he comes out later. Maybe I'll show you. Up here, got a few new fish. These are really small fish that I'm growing out. It's a lot of glare, sorry, but so these are some, they were sold as just turquoise peacocks, which might be turquoise. We'll see. They're still really young, too young pretty much to show color. In here also there are some bristlenose plecos, and then I hope they come out because they're really cool. There are some baby Synodontis petricola, and they're just, oh man, they're adorable. Let me see if I can't encourage them to come out real quick. There's one. Oh, they're so tiny and cute, so I really like them. And then next to that is a hospital quarantine tank with a bunch of fish that have been beaten up, and then there's this OB group that I've pretty much decided not to try and breed anymore. So that tank is not too exciting. And then up above that, I've got a row here. It's 6 10-gallon tanks. Up there I've only got water in 3 of them. It's kind of tough to see in here. It's mostly just a glare of me. There are some blue regals in here. That tank is cycling. And then there are some fry, some dragon bloods, and sunshine fry in there. And so I've got these other 3 tanks that have all the equipment. They're plumbed. They're all ready to go when I need them, whenever I want to cycle them and get them going. This is really my tank that I use for fry, for tumbling eggs. And then there's some red shoulder peacocks growing out in there. Got a bunch of different breeder boxes going. There's a bunch of blue neons in there. My Azurus group, or Azurius, or however you want to say it, finally bred, so I've got some fry from them. Dragon bloods finally bred again, so I got some fry from them. More blue neons. My blue neons are my most prolific group. And then down here, we'll see if this tank is the dirtiest tank that I have, so I apologize. Lots of brown algae in this tank, but that is my wild caught red shoulder male. See if I can't get him to come out. Alright, there he is. Sorry, this glass is kind of spotty. But he's just, every time I show him I just say the same stuff, but he's just unreal. Just amazing looking red shoulder. And the males that I have, you know, I have some, he's been breeding, and I've got some F1 males from him, and they look just as good as he does. Even though they're smaller. It's crazy. Okay, so next to that, this is my 55 rack, double 55 rack. So I've got two groups here. Oh, my dragon blood male is going crazy. So this is the dragon blood group from Dikoshi. And he's going nuts. Usually he won't even come out. This time he's going crazy. He looks really nice though. And then below that is my Azurus group that I was talking about. Let's see, I don't see the male. He might be hiding. Yep, he's hiding. Oh no, that is the male, sorry. I just couldn't tell from the light and from the front. Anyway, he's pretty nice. Really nice fins. If I was doing a better job, I would be turning off all the lights on all the tanks except for each tank that I'm showing, but that makes for a really annoying video. Even more annoying than this already is. So anyways, all these racks, this is a double 40 breeder rack and a stand from Lowe's. This quad 40 breeder rack is just built out of wood. I've got build videos for all of those. Let me turn on the overhead light here. I've done videos on all these systems. So up above, I have a central air system that comes in from an air pump that's over in my crawl space so that I don't have to listen to it. And then I also have the drip system that comes from, it runs through a filter that's also in my crawl space and over here and around the room. So other than the obvious plumbing that's in this room, I've got, you know, for the house, I've got all this other plumbing as well. So it's really easy to add new sponge filters, add additional drips into each tank. So this tank, the water level is a little low. You might be able to actually see the drips going down. That's kind of hard because it's lost in the bubbles from the sponge filter. But anyway, so all in all, I'm about over 1,000 gallons. So between the tanks upstairs, this room, and then the crawl space, the fish in the crawl space grow out system, which I'll show you here in a second. Okay, so this crazy thing here is a almost 500 gallon grow out system that I built beginning of this year. Did a whole video series about it. If you want to learn more, it's based on principles from aquaponics and aquaculture. So it's these two big tubs, storage bins that are about 180 gallons each, though they're not 100% full. Those flow into a couple of barrels. So that's a radial flow filter in the first barrel, and then a moving bed filter in the second barrel. I can maybe pull out the radial flow here in a minute so you can see how the waste gets trapped in there. It's pretty cool. And then in this side right now I have blue neons growing out. The other side I have F1 red shoulders growing out. And on each of those I have an Eheim auto feeder, so I don't even have to think about it. It's very nice. And then recently I added this long tank back here for a couple purposes. One, to put some plants in. And I do have some plants. As you can see, I've got a plant specific bulb right here. That is pothos or pothos growing. It's actually doing really well. The brown algae also doing super well. But that's fine as long as it uses up the nitrates. I've got a couple of my known to be male red shoulders right here. So if you can see what I was talking about earlier, that's an F1 red shoulder. You can see he's probably 3 inches max. And you can see how blue he is. If he turns back around, I mean, it's crazy. That other one is the same way. So I just pulled those guys out. I have been selling some of these. One of those guys might end up going in the 90 upstairs because they're just crazy. So if you're in Central Ohio and you're interested, hit me up. I'm selling those guys for what I think is pretty good price, frankly, because they're awesome. Got a couple of fish over here just that I've separated. That fish had some nipped fins. That is a pheno that I've been waiting, to take off for a long time, and he now has, if he will turn around, he now has like one really good chip on him. So I'm hoping he starts to chip up. He's still a little small though. So that's cool. Just kind of a nice extra space. It adds volume to this system and then helps me kind of isolate some fish. Let me open these tubs up though and show you what's inside there. Alright, so this is the tub with the red shoulders. So they're starting to get some size on them. Not sure if I'll be able to pull one out of here for you or not to see them. Of course, they don't always cooperate. Yeah, there we go. So there's one of the males in there. He's not nearly as colored up as his friends over in the other tank, but he looks pretty good. Looks like I got a female in there too. So they're growing really fast. It's a great system here. And then if we go over to the other tub, we've got the blue neons. See if I can't get a male blue neon. And of course, see there's some waste that accumulates in there, which is kind of a bummer. I don't think any of these are males. They're still pretty young. This group, they're pretty small, so. And I did sell a bunch of them recently, so. But those are blue neons, so I'm excited to see when those guys come out. And then this radial flow filter, and this is much more detailed than I usually go into on a tour. But like I said, I'm trying to do a little better. So it's a bucket in here. You can see there's waste already that accumulates kind of in the ridges of this bucket, but I'm just turning it upside down so I can pull it out here. See the water flowing. It's overflowing from those standpipes going down into there. You can see there's waste that accumulates on the bottom there. I've cleaned this out not too long ago, so there's not a ton that's in there. But yeah, it's a great system. Does a really good job filtering this whole system. It was a lot of work to build it. It takes up a lot of space. I don't know what the heck I'm gonna do if I ever move, frankly, but it's a really cool thing to have. It's nice to be able to grow fish out quickly, which was the whole point. But I gotta say, this concludes the tour for this quarter, I guess, if I'm doing them every 3 months. Really appreciate if you've subscribed to me recently. Thank you so much. Really means a lot. Thanks for watching all this stuff. If you are seeing this and you haven't subscribed, it would be awesome to me if you did that. This whole channel is about my journey in this hobby and just trying to share what happens to me, some of the lessons that I learn, some projects that I do, some tips and tricks, and do tours like this. So thanks again for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. And until next time, have a good one.